What's up, homie?
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, homie fans, AFC North fans, fans of the Browns. Not many probably check this out because they always getting insulted on here by somebody. Fans of the Baltimore Ravens, the AFC North Division champs, Baltimore Ravens, and the Cincinnati Bengals. And you say, where is Big G and B Dirt? Well, B Dirt is in Vegas, hanging out, enjoying the first weekend of March Madness. Talked to him yesterday, doing well. Him and his fiance, the fabulous Jess. And I told her, Jess, I wish you luck. I told B Dirt he outkicked his coverage and he's marrying up. So good for him. Their wedding is actually about a month away. We'll pay and myself. We'll be there for that. We'll be hanging out that weekend and see what's going on. But from running through the jungle, we have a fill-in for B Dirt. We got the homie, the Lieutenant General himself, in the Matrix with Claude most days. But today, he's actually on the show with us, one of the homies. The homie Tim Lyons in the building. Tim, what's happening, man?
What it do, man? What it do?
Not too much, man. Not too much. How's the weather out there in the Northwest?
As you see, I'm wearing a Adidas vest. It's cold outside and raining. So, being up in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest, it's raining right now. A little chilly, but spring's almost here and baseball's almost here.
Baseball. You a Mariners fan?
No,
you like the Cardinals. You like the Cardinals.
I'm a
Yeah,
Cardinals fan.
now. Had to just talk it out.
Give me a stank face from Pay. Don't even start your crap.
It's funny because we all like NL Central teams.
Yeah.
And of our three teams, Tim, I think yours finishes behind the two of us, our teams. I think you guys are kind of rebuilding, but you never know in baseball.
I am right now thinking that the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be in the cellar this year. Because of they did.
Whoa. Tim, I'm sorry to cut you off. As much as I would love to believe that the St. Louis Kardashians would be in the cellar, along with those Milwaukee bitter beer faces, we have to remember that the Pittsburgh Pirates are in this division as well. Can't disrespect them like that. The cellar belongs to them.
Yeah, but you know what though? The Pirates, they have Paul Skeens. I know that's only one pitcher. But you never know. It is baseball. That's the thing is about baseball. There's 162 games. It's a long damn season. So, we can say that we're projected to do X, Y, and Z, or as in my case, the St. Louis Cardinals might end up in the cellar, but it's baseball. So we never know what's going to happen. You know what? You're absolutely right. I can't hear you, Tate.
You're right. You could end up being in a cellar. You could end up, fighting for a wild card. They got, 30 wild cards now, so you never know. I'll give you that one.
That was for myself. I was talking to Pay. I was asking Pay, you don't think the Pirates, man, they got a little bit of pitching this year? They spent a little bit of money. You still got them in the cellar?
Yes. I give them 77 wins.
So, man, that's not bad. It's better than last year, I think, and that's almost 500. So the worst team in the division gets 77 wins?
Yeah, this division, as you've seen the last handful of years, no one pulls away from anybody too much. And, the winner is usually 91, 92. I don't think that's going to be any different this year. You're going to have, a bunch of season splits. Well, you can't split anymore. It's only 13 games. I've seen, Cubs, Cards go 7-6 either way. Reds, Cubs go 7-6 either way. Stuff like that. I don't think any of these teams, any of the 6 teams, I don't think any of them are world beaters. No Dodgers in this division.
No Dodgers. Speaking
Or
of
White
which,
Sox for that matter.
but this is actually one of the few times a year that the White Sox are better than the Cubs. The Cubs are in the bottom of baseball right now, Pay. The absolute seller.
Well, I don't know if you can put another seller on that, Tay. I mean, they have not won a game yet this year. That's correct. Neither have anybody else other than the Dodgers.
But we're not in
But
last
two,
place.
but
The Reds,
but two,
yeah,
two,
Reds and the
two-
Cards are not in last.
That's true.
two losses puts them a full game back in the division lead already.
I don't know why they didn't split. It was right there from the split. I talked about it on the channel, Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. The split was right there for you. Baseball didn't want a sweep. They wanted you all to go out there and make some money. Split. The Dodgers weren't even trying to win the second game. They made me mad.
So what's going on? The Dodgers weren't trying to win, so the Cubs should have won. The Bulls are trying to lose, but they keep winning. What's going on in Chicago, man?
It's springtime. It's springtime and it's snowing. That's how confused the whole city is.
Okay, this is the second day of spring. Just to jump into a little bit of football news right now, most immediately. There was a sighting today at the Pittsburgh Sports Complex.
Yeah.
Pay kind of called this a few months ago. A month ago, it's coming to fruition because I believe Pittsburgh dropped the ball with Justin Fields. He came out of his cave. One Mr. Caveman came out to join us. Aaron Rodgers stepped off the Malibu beach with his bodyguard to meet with Omar Khan.
He's such a douche.
Mr. Rudy and Mike Tomlin. They had a meeting of the minds today. No deal was struck, though I've heard the parameters of one has been agreed to. In the lot. Hey, you know what the hang up is on the contractual thing though, Pay?
I have no idea. I just found it funny that you said the parameters of a deal have been discussed. Like I have a concept of a plan, right? That type of thing. I have a plan, but I can't tell you. I have a plan of a plan. I have a contract idea to offer you. That's just funny to me. And it's just shooting the normal for Aaron Rodgers during this time of year. He's got to drag his feet. He's got to play with retirement. He's got to make everything about himself. It's a soap opera. Just like that social media post of him on the beach with covered in a blankie on the just thinking about what's next. You thought about what's next when you hired that photographer to come take a picture of you? Come on, bro. Knock it off. Go sit down somewhere, Brett Favre Jr. I'm sick of this guy.
And I understand why, because part of the hang up on the contractual situation is he won't transfer a piece of minority ownership of Chicago Bears to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for his contract.
I don't think that has anything to do with anything. We coming to get that. We coming to get that deed of paper off of. That's why I want him to sign with Pittsburgh, because we coming to get the deed off him this year.
Yeah, they say that's the hang up right now. Like
running them pockets.
He don't want to give up his part of his minority ownership because I guess it's a conflict of interest that another team owns a piece of another team, so he really can't transfer it to the Steelers because we're an organization like the Bears are an organization. An individual can have partial minority ownership in another organization, but yeah, so we'll see how that goes, man. But fellas, anything Pay your March Madness bracket? What it's looking like, man?
I've only did 3 this year. I've got 13 wins and 1. The other 2 have 11. So not too bad. I don't think nobody I had going far has lost. So that's the secret sauce of March Madness. You never want anybody you had making a deep run to lose in the first weekend, because obviously disastrous to your bracket. So as of right now, all my brackets are healthy. I can still win the pot, win all the money.
Who were your final four teams? No, just give me what bracket you feel most comfortable with. Don't tell me three different brackets. Your one bracket you feel most confident.
They're all the same.
Well, who are your final
My
four
final
teams?
four picks are all it's Florida, Auburn, I think Houston, and who was the other one? It's another 2 seed. I forget. St. John's. Those are all my final four picks. I have 2 different winners though. I have Florida winning one. I got Houston winning the other 2.
We got 2 of the same teams, man. I got Florida and Auburn. I got all SEC. Can you guess the other 2 teams? If I say I got Florida and Auburn,
Alabama.
That's 3.
It ain't Georgia. I know that much. They're toast.
Oh, my bracket would be killed already because if I had them going that far, they lost yesterday.
Zags whooped them.
Who else is in there? The SEC had like 30 teams in there. Half the bracket is them.
Yeah.
Florida, Auburn, Alabama. Who else is it?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
There you go, Tim. Tennessee.
They're tough. I like Tennessee. Ziegler. He's gonna make a name for himself this tournament. Ziegler.
Yeah, so I picked all those guys. Hey, in the live chat, we're about to take a quick break. You're watching on YouTube, you know how it goes. We're not going anywhere. We're just gonna take a quick break for our audio listeners, hear from our advertisers and partners, pay a couple bills here on the Steel Curtain Network and Fans First Sports Network. And if you stay with us, we'll be right back after this. In the live chat, while we're taking this quick break, go ahead and type the name of the team you got winning it. Rob Lightfoot says Auburn all the way. I had Auburn in the final, Rob. I had Alabama winning that thing, though. So, and I only did one bracket, so I'm sticking by that one. I like Sears and Nelson. I like both those guys together. I think they're going to be formidable as we head into deeper into March Madness. But yes, let's take a quick break, fellas. We'll be right back after this. We'll get into some of the money spent in the AFC North already. So we'll be right back after this. And we're back on the Homies Podcast in the building with the homie Pay, per usual, per most Friday evenings. I guess since G is not here, it's not a Freaky Friday. Pay sometimes can turn the corner and take it there, though, so we'll see. Tim is here, so hopefully we don't have to send him to the Matrix like G wants to every comment Tim says.
Everything.
I'm a little bit more.
I can say the sky is blue and he's going to send me to the Matrix. Come on.
I'm a little bit more judicious with the Matrix button, Tim. I think you know that.
I know.
But, yeah, man, thank you guys for joining us.
I mean, if you really want to send somebody to the Matrix, I mean, we got a couple of people in the comments who said Duke was going to win the championship. So you're going to send them to the Matrix.
All right, Pay. You don't think Duke has – but see, that's just Duke hate, though. So with you, I don't know if it's legit. I mean, Duke looked good today. I don't have them winning the league.
They're one of the top 3 teams in the league, and when it's in the nation, and they're playing one of the trashiest teams to make the tournament. By what metric do they look good? They're supposed to dominate.
Because they won like 40 points, didn't they? Yeah,
that is not outside of their norm for top, like I said, 2-3 team in the first game of the tournament. 30-40
All right.
points.
Everybody pick Duke. Pay says sends you here. Tell the homie Claude we said what's up. I don't know that I've seen him yet out here in these streets yet. But fellas, let's talk about the AFC North and the free agents. Like what kind of money was spent? I mean, they're the sack chasing, right? Everybody's chasing that bag. The Browns gave a really big bag to Myles Garrett for somebody that wanted traded, didn't want to play for him. Owner wouldn't talk to him. but they re-signed him. They signed a couple other people. Nobody is as notable as far as contractually and money wise as Myles Garrett. And then the Bengals, Tim, your team, spent about $70 million on their receivers.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that. But first, let's just go ahead and talk about the Browns real quick. So the Browns re-signed Myles Garrett. They're traded for Kenny Pickett. Trying to think of just Browns news and notes. Pay, you know anything?
We haven't talked about the biggest thing going on in Cleveland offseason ever since the offseason started. The biggest news with the Browns is their legal battle with the city of Cleveland.
Yeah. Go ahead and talk about it.
Well, I'm not following the story like like I would follow something I was super interested in, but it is something. if you were someone who was inclined to be informed by when sports and the legal process intertwine. So you all, most people that listen and watch this show are old enough to remember when the Cleveland Browns moved the first time, right? Back in mid 90s. After that, the city of Cleveland, they put a law in, on the books. I forget what the law is called, but it's something. I think it's named after not Rooney, but Modell rule, something like that. They need. I'm not going to go into the particulars of it, but here's the rule: you need permission from the city of Cleveland to leave the city of Cleveland. I think I'm fine with that, right? So even though it's probably splitting hairs, parsing hairs, that the Cleveland Browns want to leave the municipality of Cleveland and go to the suburbs with their new facilities or whatever. The city of Cleveland still is going to is pulling their coattail and say, hey, we got this law. You need permission from us, and they don't want to give it. They don't want to grant it. They want the Cleveland Browns to stay in Cleveland, all of their business in Cleveland. I find that to be I don't think it's going to go anywhere to the point where it's spilling out into it get into the courts and maybe rolled up to the Supreme Court of Ohio, maybe even the Supreme Court of the nation. But it's something to pay attention to, because if the Browns don't get their way, I can see a lot of other cities trying to do something else like this.
From what I seen from the Browns in Cleveland, they filed a lawsuit with the NFL stating that they want them to stay in that stadium lakefront until 2028 or 2029, something like that, because they don't want them moving to Brook Park. I understand that they want to keep them in Cleveland on the lake, lakefront, but they need a new stadium. It is what it is, but they're going to keep blocking it. Hey, it's not my problem.
No, so I get it. I mean, have you ever been to Cleveland? I mean, everything is right down there. I mean, off the lake. You got the Jake down there. You got the Cavs play downtown. They used to play at Richfield Coliseum, which is like 20 miles away from Cleveland back in the day. But I think a lot of teams, organizations, and sports have started years ago, transitioning back from way out back into the city. I mean, the Detroit Pistons at one time played the Silverdome, just like the Lions did. Now Ford Field and Caesars Palace are all right there downtown Detroit. I mean, so there was a thing back in the day where I guess it was the thing that much like all the cities, much like the people. I mean, years ago, people would move out of the city into the suburbs to get away to have their space and peace and quiet. Now, the past 20 years, it's been an influx of people back into the city. Most places kind of regentrification. I moved to DC here back in 20 years ago in 2005. And hold on, let me cut this beat ball. Go ahead and say something for a second, Tim.
Yeah, it's like if you look in the Seattle area here, all the stadiums are in Seattle. The CenturyLink and
Mm-hmm.
what is it? I forget what it's called now. They renamed it T-Mobile Stadium, whatever the hell it is for the Mariners. Everything's downtown, and all the new fancy restaurants are downtown in Seattle. But believe it or not, everybody's trying to move out of Seattle or trying to move north because of the cost of living and all that stuff. So, like I understand what Cleveland's trying to do. And Pay, didn't you say something on the NFC homies about Chicago was trying to do some kind of law or whatever that the teams had to be like 500 for like 3 or 4 years before they would, to get a new stadium or whatever the fact of the matter of it was, something like that.
Yep. The Illinois State Assembly proposed a bill that any sports team in the state that is, as they put it, begging for public funds, they need to produce a 500 or better record over three of the last 5 seasons, which is preposterous. Coming for Chicago.
To move, you have to have a winning season 3 of the previous 5 seasons.
Yes,
Yeah.
Unless Illinois is ready to lose all their teams, it's a preposterous thing to ask.
Like I know here in Seattle, we've been trying to get the Sonics back, and it's been an ongoing battle for the city of Seattle and just the Seattle Sonics fans. It's been a battle. 1 minute they say yes, we're going to bring them. We're going to bring in a team, and next minute it's not, and it's like it's an ongoing rodeo that they keep doing here in Seattle with this whole Sonics. Because a lot of team, I would love to have a Sonics team back here in Seattle. I'm not a big basketball fan, but I think that would pull me back into basketball because something's local. But it's like this whole, you want to get renovations for your stadium or you want to build a new stadium or whatever the situation is it's kind of, I understand, like I said, I understand what Cleveland's trying to do. They're trying to keep them on their lakefront, but and now Chicago's doing this or Illinois is doing this thing. It's kind of like, I understand it to a point, but then it's kind of like, come on now.
But okay. I mean, so Miles Garrett money. What do you guys think about that? Is that money well spent? What do you guys think?
Well spent. So definition of that is if you don't spend it there, you got to spend it better somewhere else. Where else could they spend that money with the roster that they have now or with the players available in free agency?
Right.
Was anybody available in the free agency even in the same neighborhood as a player, as an impact player as Miles Garrett?
Right.
Anybody think that was anybody was there?
And to add on to that, Trey or Pay, like I was thinking about the Trey Hendrickson situation.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bengals have X, Y, Z amount of cap space right now, and it's like, okay, just go sign him because who's out there defensively, like you just said, that can play like Trey Hendrickson or Miles Garrett can. I know Miles Garrett is an echelon higher than Trey because he's a different player, but there's nobody out there. So go spend the money and sign those guys that you need.
Agreed. I mean, you only get a Miles Garrett. He's a once in a generation type player. So you have him. Okay, you're probably not going to be able to compete with him. That's just how the cookie crumbles. You only statistically, you only get a chance once every 30 years to be a winner because it's 30 teams, blah, 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 right? But and it just so happens that this just ain't gonna be the Browns' time to win with that once in a generation player. That don't mean not pay him. That don't mean let him walk up into the sunset and get a bunch of other players who could not fill his shoes. might as well pay him. Let him be a Browns legend. Name a street corner after him, and name a restaurant after him in Cleveland. Do the thing. Do the thing. At least you can win in some ways. You ain't letting him walk by not paying him or giving him anything that he wants would just be ridiculous operation from Cleveland.
Pay, I have to disagree with you. I mean, name a street after him. Yeah, it's a Jim Brown way in Cleveland. Jim Brown won championships, is the all-time, probably arguably the best running back ever. Myles Garrett won one playoff game in his whole career. That's because Big Ben threw 5 interceptions, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. And a restaurant, yeah, take some of that $40 million, buy you a restaurant down the flat to start your own thing. Ain't nobody just naming no restaurant after Myles Garrett. What's going on here, man?
Are we saying that you have to win championships just to get a street named after you?
No, but you have to be. You have to get close, right? You should be leading the team that wins. I mean, Jim Kelly in Buffalo, he could have a street named after him in Buffalo. He never won a Super Bowl.
Does Bernie Kosar have a street named after him in Cleveland?
I don't know.
It's where the landfill is. It's right there on Bernie Kosar Way.
but they were at least good. Bernie Kosar with the 2 AFC championship games.
That's my point. Bernie Kosar ain't Myles Garrett. I think most Browns.
But Myles Garrett don't have Bernie Kosar's winning numbers, winning percentage.
And I still would argue that most Browns fans would put Myles here and Bernie a little lower.
I agree.
I think overall, in the greater scheme of things, I mean, you probably could call Myles Garrett a top 3 Brown, maybe.
And he's a future Hall of Famer.
He is.
Yeah.
Based off numbers. I think it's a street named after Reggie White in Green Bay, but look what Reggie White came to Green Bay and did.
Not even a real Packer.
Come on.
Man, the hate for Green Bay is real.
Come on, bro.
He's not even a real Packer. He's an Eagle.
He didn't win Super Bowl with them.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, man. So I think they gave up too much for Myles Garrett. He'll be like 32-ish, 33-ish when the contract is up. They gave him a no-trade clause and like a $6 million raise. So they kind of conceded power to him amongst the organization. Jimmy Haslam told him, don't go talk to Andrew Berry. But then somehow he got sit down with Jimmy Haslam and talked him into the contract. You want me to stay? You got to up me a contract. Yeah, man, I just don't think he was worth that. I mean, they've been better off trade. They could have got 2 firsts and a third or something that would help build the team towards the future.
I don't think that trade market was ever a real thing. I don't think his trade request was a real thing, and I definitely don't think that market was going to manifest into multiple firsts and other picks. I don't think anybody's going to do that, especially for somebody. What, he's going to be 30, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But they would have been trading for the $34 million contract. And I mean, you probably think it's a team that's close to winning. So you're probably looking at a bottom 25 pick in the draft. They could have got 2 of them.
The teams that it made most sense: Philadelphia Eagles, the Rams, maybe,
Commanders,
maybe the Commanders. All those teams. I'm gonna stay with the Eagles. You saw how many players had to let walk this offseason, right?
Yeah.
Them taking on a 30 some odd $1 million contract and then having to extend them some more, that don't make fiscal sense. Some other teams, it just didn't. I don't think they had the assets to get them.
And I think I made this statement on Running Through the Jungle a couple of weeks ago, and I think Tate, you probably heard me say it, but I think what happened was that Myles Garrett wasn't going nowhere, so Cleveland went like this: "Hey, watch my beer and hold my beer and watch this." So we're going to give him a $40 million contract. Now let's see what the Cincinnati Bengals do with Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
I think they played it well. Even though it's Myles Garrett and then he's in his 30s. Brandon's rattled off players. After signing contracts and being 30 years old. You You had Reggie White with a lot of sacks and Bruce Smith and, Lawrence Taylor and those guys. Let's see if Myles Garrett, because last year Myles Garrett, he had a good season. He didn't have one of his great seasons, but he had a good season last year. But I think he was playing with some injuries last year.
Even his best season, he shouldn't have been DPOY. Steeler fans know that.
There's that. I know you guys think TJ Watt should have won. I agree with you guys.
Hey, do we think Big Pun is a Browns fan? Read the comment, Pay.
Myles Garrett is the epitome of making impact plays in non-impact situations. No, I don't think a Browns fan would probably say that.
Right. I don't either. I thought it said in impact situations. Okay. Shout out to the homie Big Pun. You are not going to the Matrix.
Big Punisher.
Oh, that's a good question right there. From Owl on the Prowl. Better all time, Myles Garrett or Derek Thomas?
Come on. That's a good question. I think that's easy. Derek Thomas.
Okay. I said it was good because if you want to consider Myles Garrett like one of the all-time greats, I agree. Derek Thomas is.
Whoa, Tate. Don't
don't put words in his mouth.
I wasn't gonna say that, but
yeah.
Hey, I said he's an all-time Brown. All-time great. That's a little bit too much dip on your chip. That's a bit too much.
Better player. Myles Garrett or Julius Peppers?
Oh, now that's a good one. That's a really good question because I think their stats, if you're a numbers person, I think they're very similar. Juju, Hall of Fame Bear. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And I'm a little biased because Juju's one of my favorite players ever. That's tough.
Just because he was a Tar Heel basketball player.
And he was a Chicago Bear.
He was a Chicago Bear. Oh, yeah, he got to be one of your – that's like Cam Hayward to us, me and Big G. When they go from one of your all-time favorites to another one of your all-time favorites.
I mean, he was a beast. He was a beast. People don't realize how beastly he was. But Myles Garrett is they cut from the same, granite. That's a tough question. I don't know. I flip a coin.
Okay. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and let Tim tell us about the Bengals and their plans. Ravens, not much to really report. We'll talk about them briefly. Pay has anything. We'll talk about the Steelers' moves. And, we talked about it on Wednesday, Pump Your Brakes. Go back and watch that. We talked about the guys they brought back in Pittsburgh. We talked about the new guys they brought in and how that impacts the draft on Wednesday night's Pump Your Brakes. So go back and get at it, listen. Still same place we said Wednesday, no quarterback, but at least they've communicated. So if you're watching on YouTube, stay with us. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be right back and talk about how the Bengals were able to pay Jamar Chase, probably the best receiver in football, and T. Higgins, probably the best number 2 in football. And we'll be right back after this quick break. Stay with us. And we're back on the homies Friday night in the building with the homie Pay from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan. Chicago Bears represents the Baltimore Ravens for us because obviously Pay's a Bears fan who's also, I'd say the Ravens are his AFC team anyway. So,
That's not a thing. Can't have two favorite teams.
You can have an AFC and an NFC. Like, I root for the NFC because my brother's the Eagles fan. It's not my favorite team, though.
Okay, you can like another team. I do like.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because your favorite teams are obviously the Bears, the Cubs, the Tar Heels, in basketball. Am I missing anybody? NBA, you don't have one, do you?
The Minnesota Lynx.
to
got enough
WNBA, not
basketball.
NBA. The homie Tim from the Fans First Sports Network Running Through the Jungle podcast. One of the homies sitting in for B Dirt tonight. Tim, what's going on with the Bengals, man? Let me ask you a question first.
Mhm.
What's the deal? We got the money part to get to. Speaking of money, though, what's the deal with Trey Hendrickson, man?
I was asked that question yesterday, and I honestly don't know. There's been stipulations that, if Trey Hendrickson doesn't get a new deal, he's going to sit out this year. Okay, well, that's going to hurt him, and it's going to hurt the Cincinnati Bengals. There's been rumors that the Cincinnati Bengals and Trey Hendrickson's camp, because Trey Hendrickson's camp stated that he was worth a first or, whatever the draft picks was that they said that they would trade him for, and it was too high. Okay, so now we don't know what's going on. We honestly don't know what's going on. I know there's been reports seeing that, there's still a possibility that they get this deal done. I know Trey Hendrickson wants a longer contract, and the Bengals have offered him, I think it was like 30 to 32 million for 2 years. I think he wants 3 years. That's what we're assuming, that he wants 3 years, a 3-year deal. So, I'm not going to say Trey Hendrickson does not deserve to get paid, because he does deserve to get paid. He was our defense last year. He's been our defense continuously through the last couple of years that we had him. But one thing that does really confuse me about Trey Hendrickson is when he came, he played with us, he signed a deal, and then we did a 2-year extension. Well, then last year he threatened that he was going to sit out, or he wanted traded because he wanted a new deal. Well, last year he couldn't even ask for a new deal, to be honest with you. But now he wants a new deal, and he deserves the deal. But I just think the Bengals need to. I think they can get it done. Just like everybody thought that we would not get the Chase and T. Higgins deal done, but I believe that we can still get that Trey Hendrickson deal done, and it's waiting. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be done within the next week or two, but maybe it gets done before the draft, or like I said on Wednesday on Running Through the Jungle, maybe there's a possibility that we do get a trade, and we trade him during the draft. I don't know. I have no idea. It's kind of like, I wish I was a fly on the wall kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't. How old is Trey Hendrickson, Tim?
30.
See, I don't know. I think he might have to come down off his demands a little bit. I don't know if somebody gonna give him a 3-year, $96 million deal. I don't know.
Right, and Hunter just re-signed his deal with the Texans, and he ain't getting no $30 million a year. And if you look at his stats and Trey Hendrickson's stats, they're pretty fairly close. But I don't think Trey Hendrickson's going to give the Bengals that deal of what Hunter got. It's kind of like, we don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see.
Career wise, I'd say Danielle Hunter is better than Hendrickson. Hendrickson had a big year, like Jamar Chase had a big year, but I think the tape on Jamar Chase is more. It's more tape on him being the player that he was this past year. Trey Henderson has had some good seasons, but this was his breakout season.
Well, yeah, but you remember Trey Hendrickson's in the top 3 in sacks since 2020. So you can't just say this last year or whatever. No, he's been up there with TJ Watt and Myles Garrett for the last, 4 or 5 years. So we can't really say that, but he's not. Don't get me wrong, he is not TJ Watt. Don't get pissed off at me, Steelers fan. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying though is Trey Hendrickson's been up there with those guys. So, like Pay alluded to earlier about the whole Myles Garrett thing, that's kind of like how I feel with Trey Hendrickson, because give him his money, re-sign him, because there's nobody else out there defensively that we should be given, $20 million to. There is nobody out there. It's, we can sign a guard like we just did, Lucas Patrick from the Saints, for $2.1 million, these pieces that we need to fill in, the holes because we let a guard walk to Vegas for a big bag that they shouldn't have paid him. But we're definitely going to fill in those holes that we have. But I'm sorry, but if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I would have already had this deal done a year ago. Just like I said before, we were a year late with the three guys, and we're a year late with Trey Hendrickson.
No,
thanks for that,
I
Tim.
agree.
What's that?
I said thanks for that, Tim, because our super chat from Claude B, he's shown up. He said you need to talk more because Tate is boring.
Shout out to the homie Claude. Yeah, we know why it's your boy. Ain't no secret to that.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know who made Big G the Matrix Kim Jong-un of the homies, but that's the only reason why Claude and I get put in the Matrix is because we speak the truth. It's just something he don't agree upon. It's not our fault.
But Tim, that last comment, what's true about that?
Yeah, well, he is being a little biased, but I appreciate your support, Claude. No, I wouldn't. But we don't put people in the Matrix. So, I appreciate your support, Claude. But yeah, I agree with you, Tate.
Thanks for the super chat, Claude. You always welcome here on the mainland too, until you got to go back home. But Tim, so I agree they need to pay him, and I think the 2 years, $65 million is about the avenue. I mean, go ahead and give him 2 years, 66. I don't think nobody's going to go 3 years, $99 million for the player now. I mean, if you sign it, maybe sign it and have a team option. Then if he's performing, he gets that 3rd year. If he's not, then they can be done with the deal after 2 years. Everybody gets what they want. Yeah. All you got to do is perform, live up to the contract.
I agree. But unfortunately, you and I we're not in the offices with Mike Brown and Duke Tobin and the Blackburns. So I agree with you 100%. If he goes around and he says that how much he loves the Cincinnati Bengals organization or loves Cincinnati, but then it's like, I understand he wants his money. Pay him his money, or let him go or trade him. Whatever they have to do, it needs to get done. And it's kind of a waiting game, and just like it was last year with him, it was a waiting game because he threatened to sit out and he wanted traded last year. So here we go again. In 2025, are they going to re-sign him? Or is he going to play? I think Trey Hendrickson plays his year out, and then if we don't get a deal done, he's gone.
Well, that's what he needs to do. If he sits out, he's EFFED. Spell it that way.
Yeah, and he's getting older in age. If he was a 26-year-old defensive end,
he would be paid right now.
He could easily get paid right now by any team.
Right.
But he's 30 years old. He's been in the league for a little bit. He's a defensive end. Those guys get beat up all the time. For him to sit out, like I said earlier, that would hurt the Bengals, but it would also hurt him.
How old was Le'Veon when he set out?
Like 26, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 26. Perfect time to sit out, huh, Tim? He was 26.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, Tim, real quick, man, on the receivers, you guys signed them both. I said on one of the shows, it's going to be at least 40 for Jamar, but then Myles Garrett got that contract. I was watching Run Through the Jungle you guys were on, and Duke Tobin, like B Dirt, you guys said put his foot in his mouth that he's going to make Jamar Chase the highest non-paid quarterback in the league. And then Myles Garrett slips in and gets that contract. Now you got to up that contract a little bit. Mm-hmm. He ended up getting $40 million. Man, we got a super chat from Big G's Just for Men. Big G in the building. Shout out to the homie. Big G sent me to fill in for him. All right. Just for Men, Big G. What's up?
I get the joke. Fill in.
Oh, I was more of a literal sense, but you get always me. Everything is literal.
Yeah, East Philly.
But yeah, Tim. So I think it worked out to where to be 41 and 29, 70 million between the two.
Yeah, Jamar 161 for 4 years, and T Higgins 115 for 4 years. I'll give you guys a stat. Like I gave it on Running Through the Jungle. If you guys didn't watch it, I'm gonna repeat it because here's my stat: 658 receptions, 9,112 yards receiving, 74 touchdowns. First in the league as a duo wide receiver group. How can you not pay them? Honestly, how can you not pay them? All these haters, yeah, keep pushing the goalpost back for us, please. Just keep doing it because you guys are going to keep doing it. Saying the Bengals are going to have to score 50 points to win games. Well, whatever it is what it is. It got done. The Cincinnati Bengals got it done. They showed everybody, hey, we're going to re-sign T and we're going to re-sign Jamar Chase, and we re-signed Mike Gesicki as well. So
one of those is not like the other.
You're right, but the thing is though, in Cincinnati, the tight end position has been a revolving door. We haven't had a solid, a steady tight end since Tyler Eifert or CJ Uzama. So for us to get Gesicki for 3 years, it gives Joe and the Cincinnati Bengals that stability at tight end as well. So,
you were very high on that tight end you all drafted last year. What was his name?
Eric All.
Yeah, Eric All. He's still on the roster.
He is still on the roster, but he got. I don't know if you guys remember. He got hurt.
Yeah,
at the middle of the season, whatever it was, he got hurt. But then his surgery did not go so well. So he's possibly going to be out for the 2025 season as well.
Sucks. That sucks.
Yeah, and he's a great ball. He's a great ball player. He's a good blocking tight end, but he's also one of those guys that can go out there and catch the football.
I don't have anything against the Bengals signing. I think you should sign all your guys. And B Dirt myself talked yesterday. He said this too. You got to sign your guys. You got to sign Jamar Chase is a first round pick. T Higgins is a second round pick. I don't remember where Henderson was picked, but he's been your guy on defense. You got to try and sign all your guys. Keep your guys in the building, and then work around everything else. So I don't disagree. B Dirt was saying that you guys can still create more cap space by cutting Jermaine Pratt and restructuring somebody. Like the cap hits for your receivers won't hit this year. And when they do hit, the salary cap, like we're projecting next year, the salary cap goes up to almost $300 million. So even though they're getting the money they're getting per year, the percentage of the salary cap will go down because their money stays the same. Or as it elevates, the cap goes up. So it becomes less. So and
that's the thing is like, we're still waiting because Jermaine Pratt requested a trade. Okay, trade him to the Colts for a 5th round pick, whatever. I don't care. Bye. Have a nice day. And we still have Zach Moss on the roster too. Zach Moss was our running back that we brought in from the Colts. I'm sorry, but Chase Brown is our number one, running back. We got Samaje Perine back from the Broncos, also for I think 2 years. Zach Moss, he's still on, but we could save more money that way too. We can still get this Trey Hendrickson deal done, and I'm just like excited that Jamar Chase and T Higgins got done. Really.
Yeah, we're excited for you as football fans. I mean, that duo of receivers and Joe Burrow are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Pay from the other half of Pay Dirt, man. Comment from the homie B Dirt. Go ahead and read his comment, man.
Run through the jungle. Bengals can cut Moss now that we signed a guard. Tim, elaborate.
We signed Lucas Patrick for $2.1 million on a 1-year deal today. Actually, it actually got done.
Lucas Patrick.
Yeah, he played for the Saints.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, played for the Saints. He's been in the league for like 10 years.
Lucas.
Okay, so a veteran guard.
Yeah.
Then you guys let Trent Brown go? Did you have Trent Brown? You had him at one time.
Yeah, Trent Brown, we did have him last year, but remember he got hurt, and then we let him go.
Yeah.
He signed with somebody
That's
today.
why
Who
I
did he sign with?
remember.
Yeah, he signed with the Texans. I believe it was.
They're and they traded Laramie Tunsil, so he's probably a cheaper option to replace him. And they signed another lineman, like they're trying to protect CJ Stroud this year, which they need to. Okay, Pay, real quick.
Lucas Patrick played in the NFC North with the Packers and the Bears before going to New Orleans and actually being a football player for once.
In New Orleans, he played well, you saying? He didn't play well in the NFC North?
A complete 180. He was trash. Big G type of trash with the Bears. And then he became damn near Pro Bowler with New Orleans. I mean,
that's why you know the name. Shout out to the homie Big.
That's big trash. Let's go, man.
Big G, even though he's not here. But yeah, Pay, real quick, the Ravens, we talked about last week, they re-signed Ronnie Stanley. They signed D-Hop. The way I talked to our capologist about it yesterday, B Dirt, the Ravens really don't have a whole much more money to do anything else. Are you expecting anything out of them?
Well, we did just say we got to re-sign your guys, right? Well, I mean, yes and no to that, but the Brooks of what the Ravens have done this offseason, they've re-signed 4 players and they brought in 3 free agents. All 3 of those free agents, well, 2 of those free agents were signed to 1-year deals. Nothing out of the world for that. DeAndre Hopkins got a $6 million deal for 1 year. Cooper Rush, we didn't talk about this last week. He got signed to back up Lamar Jackson. You all know Cooper Rush, probably the best quarterback in Dallas of the last handful of years. I didn't say that. That's what some people say. I found that to be it raised an eyebrow when I saw that. Cooper Rush got a 2-year, $6.2 million deal, and it raised an eyebrow for 2 reasons. One, that's a lot of money to give a backup. Ravens don't usually pay backups that much money. You usually see them on pretty low, maybe half of what Cooper Rush is getting. And the other thing that caught my eye with this one is Cooper Rush does not fit the profile of the quarterbacks that the Baltimore Ravens typically have on the roster.
Right.
They typically all play a certain style of football, so you can always have one playbook. Lamar goes down, bring the next guy in. He has a similar skill set. You don't have to change the verbiage or the playbook around. They all run the same stuff. Cooper Rush he's a different type of quarterback. He's not going to run the same playbook as Lamar. In the event that Lamar, is unable to complete some games or whatever, right? We don't wish that on him. But I found that to be, something to keep an eye on if you ever do see Cooper Rush step in the game.
He's a veteran. He's pictured in the bottom right corner, so we did want to talk about him. I agree with you. He doesn't fit the schematics of the Ravens offense or how they run it. They might have been better off taking a flyer on the Cowboys' other quarterback, Trey Lance. Let him sit behind Lamar for a little bit. It'd been a better fit. But it'd been more of a gamble. You don't have to pay him as much money, and it'd have been a better fit schematically. But okay, real quick, let's finish up with the Steelers, man. The Steelers have signed quite a few of their own free agents back. In the second week of free agency, they brought back Isaiah Loudermilk. They brought back James Pierre. They brought back Jeremiah Moon, outside linebacker. They brought back a couple other guys. It doesn't just miss me right now, thinking about them all by myself all at once.
Aaron Rodgers.
He wouldn't be brought back by us. I said some of our own guys. Aaron Rodgers deal is not done. And I would be okay with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I didn't want him. But now then it's down to Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph. I'd be okay with Mason Rudolph, but if they sign Aaron Rodgers and work a deal to try and get a quarterback, not in the first. I'm not the Jackson Dart guy like everybody else. I'm with trading back, acquiring another pick, and trying to get Jalen Milroe in late second, early third, and let him sit behind Rodgers and Mason for 2 years. I think you have a plan.
Get Dart.
I'm sorry?
You could trade up to the tip, get Dart.
We better not ever do that, ever.
You did it with
I don't
Kenny.
even want Jackson Dart. Yeah, and I think they learned from that lesson. If you watch the Steelers Now channel, the homie Alan Saunders had a good morning rush this morning. He was talking about two Steeler fans who are kind of like, all over the place. The Steelers suck and all that stuff. And Tomlin and the Steelers can't develop a quarterback. He listed who have they had to develop. But you don't want to give Tomlin credit for Big Ben, but when Cowher won the Super Bowl with Big Ben wasn't that guy. He threw for 100 yards in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks, right? And in Super Bowl against Arizona, he should have been Super Bowl MVP, but they gave it to Santonio Holmes. He probably threw for like 303 tubbies and everything. But so that happened under Tomlin's watch. So I think when you have a quarterback, he listed the quarterbacks that have been drafted by the Steelers since 2008. Names like Dennis Dixon, Landry Jones, Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett was the only first-round pick. Couple other guys, but yeah. So they like he said, there's no quarterback in there screaming, "Make me a superstar." They haven't had a guy in the building. You know what I mean? So that's factual. As a matter of fact, to the homie Alan Saunders, who's came with the big facts today, we're gonna give him that's the fact Jack, if I can find it, because he deserves it. There it is.
That's the fact Jack.
The Steelers signed positions. The only big name is trading for DJ Metcalf, giving him $150. The particulars of the deal came out today. This year, DK Metcalf's going to count $7 million against the cap. So it's kind of like he gets a $30 million bonus, going to count $7 million against the cap this year. A $30 million signing bonus. Then I think it goes up like to 20 in year 2 and 27 in year 3. The last year is worth 40. But, again, like with Tim and the Bengals wide receivers, in 4 years, that salary cap is probably going to be expanded. And that $40 million, Jamar Chase is making that now. That's going to be T. Higgins. I mean, not T. Higgins. DK Metcalf's final year, his deal. So receivers will be well above that. That'll be a cheap number 1 receiver in 5 years.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with it. Omar Khan typically works out good contracts. We signed Mason Rudolph. He's a quality backup. Didn't want to be number 1 guy. Darius Slay is a veteran that can play opposite Joey Porter. They gave him $10 million a year. Mason Rudolph's getting $4 million a year. Like I said, DK $7 million against the cap this year. So Darius Slay, I think, is a mentor. He helped those guys, Davion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, learn and play well in Philly. I think he can help out Joey Porter and Corey Trice, the secondary room there. We brought Malik Harrison over from the Ravens, middle linebacker. He's going to fight with Cole Holcomb for the third linebacker. But we got 4 solid linebackers. They pay him $5 million a year. He's a special teams ace as well. They signed I'm not too much knowledgeable on the D lineman they signed. I know the guy from the Patriots, Equale. He's a good run defender. The guy they got from Jacksonville, Sezzi. Shannon had us saying Ote the other day, like Buckwheat said, but it's Sezzi, and I'm not even gonna try his last name. But I think he's a project. He may be a practice squad player if he even makes that. But he's 6'5", 290. Because he's a potential upside if they can develop him. It's only his second year. This will be a third year in the league, but he's a young guy. Yeah, so I think the Steelers made some good moves. When you look at the contracts, I think the question is, I'm going to go to each of you. We'll just start right now. Pay. Ravens spend good money or bad money as far as all they're spending this offseason?
Yeah, they brought back 4 of their players. The only player they didn't bring back was Marcus Williams. So I think it's all good money.
Good money, okay. Tim, Bengals, good money or bad money?
Well, the offseason started off bad money, but then now this week when we re-signed T and Jamar Chase, I think we spent good money. It's always been a worry with us Cincinnati Bengals fans of if they're going to spend the money or not. And we got our answer on what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday when it was announced officially, or when they did their conference. So I think it's good money.
Agree. I think both of you guys are right. I mean, for what you need to keep those guys together, Tim. Okay, you guys need to bring the guys back. You could bring back because you weren't going to bring no big name in because you guys just didn't have the money to do that. I mean, I think DeAndre Hopkins is a good number 3 receiver who fits in well, and you re-sign the guys you need to re-sign. And I think you still probably restructure Derrick Henry, give him an extra on this deal and pay him a little more money. But I think you create cap space that way. The Browns, to me, bad money. Paying Myles Garrett, relinquishing power to him like he LeBron James in Cleveland, give him a no-trade clause, making the highest-paid defender in NFL history for a guy that's won one playoff game, and the Browns are perennially at the bottom. How many times have the Browns picked in the top 5 picks in Myles Garrett's career? I bet a lot. I don't know the number to it, but I bet a lot. So we're not naming those streets after him. He has to buy his own restaurant, put it on the flats, and call it Myles Garrett Seafood, whatever he wants to call it. But he's buying that thing himself with the $40 million he hustled out of Jimmy Haslam. And the Steelers, I think they spent good money too. No. Well, DK Metcalf is a big name. I like that. I even like Darius Slay for 1 year, $10 million. The 2 biggest contracts. Everybody else is just somebody to not pigeonhole them into having to draft a particular position, a particular player. That's what the one good thing that Kevin Colbert used to do. Omar Khan learned that from Kevin Colbert. I think they covered bases. Now they can don't pick a quarterback, please, Omar, in the first round. Go ahead and get your D tackle or your running back, whichever one you think is the BPA between the two. Don't get a D tackle if the top 3 guys are going. That's Walter Nolan. That's Kenneth Grant from Michigan. And that's who my third guy I'm thinking of. Not the other guy from Michigan. Nolan. Oh, Darian. What's his name for Oregon? Man, do I need Big G? Pagan.
Darian. I was going to say
Darius.
Terrion. He's from Alabama.
Number 55 for Oregon. Somebody put in the live chat already, I bet. Nope. Yeah, B Dirt reminds Mason Rudolph is a good signing. Got him for $4 million a year. How much you say the Ravens got Cooper Rush for?
6.2.
6.2. Big Pun says Ocho and TJ Houshmandzadeh are greater than Chase and Higgins. That is not true.
I mean, out of everything he's put in the chat tonight, I mean, that's probably the strongest take he said. I mean, I wouldn't argue against it.
Yeah, Mason Graham, I know him. I'm trying to think of the guy from Oregon.
Derek Harmon?
I think his name. Harmon. Thank you, Tim. That guy. Derek Harmon.
No. Yeah, Derek. I think it's Derek Harmon.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So if he's gone, if Grant is gone, and Walter Nolan is going to Pittsburgh, you don't go D tackle in the first round. You look at either then the safety from South Carolina, Nicky Mounier, whatever his name is. You look at Ibuka, or you look at your running back. I mean, if Genty could be available, which he probably won't, but I would consider Omarion Hampton too out of North Carolina. But you'd have to decide because it's BPA at that point, and you get your D line later. Why you shaking your head, Peg?
No reason at all.
Okay, I'm anxious now to get Aaron Rodgers in the camp. I don't think he tries to play those Robert Saleh New York Jet games. I think they talked about that today. We need you in OTAs and everything. We need you to stay out the cave. We need all this different stuff from you, Aaron. You're gonna be a leader on this team. If you don't act right, we're gonna have Cam come over here and slap sparks at you. So yeah, man. With that being said, I'm saying the Steelers spent good money, and they still got about between 36 and 40 million left, and that's not having even sign TJ Watt to a restructure, an extension and restructure, that can still happen. But with that being said, fellas, we're gonna jump out of here. Tim, you available to join us on overtime?
Yeah, sure. I'm just sitting here doing nothing. So yeah.
Okay, man. Well, we're about to jump on over to overtime. Tim, we'll let you plug your thing at the end of that. We're gonna get out of here now to keep it under an hour and right at an hour and 5 minutes. Pay. I know you did it last week. It was supposed to be G again, man, but you get the captain's chair in OT, man. So we're gonna be working under paid supervision, Tim. I don't know how it's gonna be, but he's captain of the ship on the next shift. So for everybody that joins us, thank you for usual. Jump on over to overtime. We'll be right next. Pay. I think I got the right outro now, man. You would go ahead and take us out of here.
Sign Aaron Rodgers.